Welcome back to the Matter of Hex podcast. It is 9:30 on Saturday morning at Prepper Camp. Didn't know what I said, Matter of Hex?
No, it's a Matter of Hex.
Whatever. I start off with Bailey's in the coffee cup. That's my excuse. But it is a freaking beautiful Saturday morning. 61 degrees, not barely a cloud in the sky. The wind might actually play nice for a change and die down a little bit, maybe. I mean, we had the obligatory awning that got turned over yesterday morning, and then, everybody's paperwork and books getting scattered once or twice. So that's about par for the course for Prepper Camp. But, I mean, Mother Nature has been very good to us so far, huh?
Yeah. Day 2 of Prepper Camp. So if you are here, stop, say hi. If you hear this, if you are coming here, stop and say hi.
Yep, and if you are listening to this later on Saturday, the game plan throughout the weekend was to sit down, record kind of a morning show, just kind of talk to the people that couldn't be here, and for the showgoers that choose to catch the podcast on their way home. So I'll have this uploaded just as soon as I get a cigar lit and get a quick editing job done as soon as we get done recording. But I gotta admit, man, the vibe is it's always different every year, and it feels busier here than it was in past years. I mean, just judging by the line by Pork Chops Barbecue yesterday, I've never seen it that long before on a Friday.
Yeah, it was. We had good foot traffic for Friday. Looking at the classes, because where we're sitting, we can basically see a lot of the tents. And I mean, they're not as full as normal, but today, I mean, being Saturday, it's always the busiest. But yeah, yesterday it was definitely busy. A lot of foot traffic. I heard a lot of people were saying that the classes were 3/4 full. Some of them were 3/4 full. Some people were having trouble just because of the class and just not as busy. But I know it was busy. I think it was a lot busier than normal, and today I think is going to be even busier.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's been the exciting part about coming to Prepper Camp for multiple years, is seeing the event continue to grow and continue to welcome in new people. Because, I mean, there are people here, whether they're attendees or vendors, that are kind of show staples. We see them every year. But I'm always surprised by the number of people I meet that say, oh, yeah, this is my first year here, or this is only my second year here. And it's been encouraging to see. I've had a person giving me the signal from the other side of the table, first year here. But, it's just one of those situations where, like, the goal of this event was always to try to spread the ideals and the methodologies of prepping out to new people, and it's encouraging to see that happening. Like, if all we do is sit here in our echo chamber and keep preppers mentoring other preppers, that's fine, that helps, but it's not as helpful as to spread the knowledge further and further out through the country so that more people can look out for themselves when all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, give them that knowledge. I mean, knowledge is king, and get them that knowledge, and I think the biggest thing with these classes, it's just to get them that spark going. So hopefully they can take what they learned here, and they can run with it and learn more. But just really great people. I mean, the campfire we had last night, we had at least, I think at one point we had around 20 people probably
about that
around the campfire. So that's, I think, more than we've ever had in the last 5 years or so. But no, I mean, it was great people. It was just, I don't know, just like-minded individuals, which is always nice. The thing is, too, is I was talking to, I don't remember who I was talking to about it, but anyway, they played the Star Spangled Banner, and on a horn, and the whole place went silent. And they did it yesterday when they raised the flag, and then they did it this morning, and not one person was, like, all movement stopped. And I don't know, to me it just, like, that was America. And I don't know, to me it's just, you're getting people from, I mean, there's people here from California, there's, I mean, all over the United States that have flown in, drove in, whatever, and I don't know, we have all one thing in common, or multiple things in common, but one of them is just being self-sufficient, independent, and it's not that we hate the government entirely, but it's the fact that we want to just leave us alone, and we want to be able to do what we want and sell what we want. And you see all kinds of people selling all kinds of stuff here, and to me it's awesome. It's how it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I always think about when I think about Prepper Camp is just the incredible diversity of classes echoes the incredible diversity of prepping. Because, I mean, if you look through this class schedule and all these tents, you've got everything from, the Austin family, which is off-grid, live on a hilltop, live off the land, could cut contact with all humanity and it wouldn't really change their life much, all the way to people that live in apartments in the suburbs who are having to prep a completely different way. And we see all of those different disciplines represented out here. Everything from the super primitive, from the live off the land, all the way to, I wouldn't say more practical, but maybe more modern methods of self-reliance, like canning and learning how to prepare your own food and all those kinds of things. Everything from cybersecurity to physical security is represented out here. And it's that diversity of different disciplines that is always made it really easy for me to recommend prepper camp, even to people who aren't really into prepping, because what are you into? Are you into homesteading? Are you into van life? Are you into camping? Or what's your driver? Are you worried about a hurricane? Are you worried about a food shortage? Are you worried about the next Great Depression? Anything you want to insulate yourself from, there's somebody out here that can show you a way to do it. Right. And that's what makes prepper camp such an incredible idea, is that Rick and Jane, they treat this like their ministry to people that are curious about prepping, but they never lost sight of the fact that there are 100 ways to quote unquote prep. All prepping is identifying threats and then recognizing that you can take action to insulate yourself from them. And they recognize that there are 100 different threats out there, and there's 200 ways to insulate yourself from them. And all of that is found out here.
Yeah, well, it's just interesting because, like you said, we have everything from physical security to cybersecurity, but we also have everything from, canning food to, we have across the way is a 3D printer. Mm-hmm. Someone who does 3D printing for a living, and they 3D print you can basically nowadays you can 3D print anything, and we'll have him on a show later today discussing how 3D printing has changed the industry as far as firearms, and even just being able to 3D print anything nowadays. Back in the day they made bowls and pottery out of clay. Well, now you can, if you wanted to, you could 3D print a bowl if you needed to for some reason. And to me, that just changes the game, and it opens up everybody to be more self-sufficient.
Yeah, well, and a lot of times it isn't even like anyone, because let's call it what it is. A 45-minute class is not going to teach you everything you need to know about a subject, but the real intent behind all these classes is to give you enough information that you can determine two things. Is this something that works in your situation? And then it gives you enough information that you have a jumping off point to go do your own research, to seek out those subject matter experts and deep dive into what your thing is. Like when my wife and daughter came out here to prepper camp last year, everything, my daughter wanted to do the blacksmithing class, and a lot of I refer to it as like arts and crafts, how to make stuff. That's her thing. She likes to be able to make stuff herself. And anything that teaches her how to make her own stuff of any sort, she is totally into. My wife took all the courses on natural medicine and mushrooms and foraging, because that's her thing. And I would never have the interest or the drive to try to pursue my wife down that corridor of natural medicine, because it's just not my focus. Mm-hmm. But a lot of my background from the military is weapons, small unit tactics, physical defense, and those sorts of things. My wife has no interest in trying to match me one for one in that realm, but we don't have to, because we have our own built-in little mag. We have that little 3-person group that if you get right down to it, it's going to be the 3 of us against everybody else, minus a few people that are included. And everybody, I would hope, has that group of people they can lean back on in an emergency, whether it's family, close friends, neighbors, or whatever. And you don't have to be the master of all disciplines, as long as all those disciplines are represented in that group. Like we talked before about when you establish a MAG, you better have at least one paramedic or EMT in that group, because people get sick, people get hurt, people need to be cared for medically. You better have one person in that group that knows how to handle a firearm well, so you have physical protection. You better have a farmer, or at least somebody who has a lot of friggin' beans of rice put back to keep everybody fed. And you don't have to do everything, as long as the group can do everything. And I think that's what's so important about promoting prepper camp, is to try to get people to bring their families out here, bring your friends out here, bring your neighbors, bring your MAG. Because if you take a group of people and disperse them out into this campsite, they will come back, each taking their own classes, each with their own focus point, and each with their own lane of prepping to go down. And the entire group, that whole family structure, that whole MAG now becomes much better educated than you or I can by ourselves run around trying to take 8 classes in a day.
Right. Well, what's interesting, and I thought about this yesterday, and I think we talked about this one time too, a long time ago, but if the flag went up and things happen and crap went down or whatever, like I know besides trying to get home to family and all that stuff, I feel like we'd be sitting pretty well with all the various people that we have here. It's like, okay, well, we're just gonna hunker down here and do what we can. I mean, then you got people that are gonna try to get out to go to get home, which is understandable. But at the same time, you look around, you're like, we have people here that we'd be okay. I mean, it'd be basically we basically have a mag group here. Like, you might not be all intertwined like a family or like a group at home or whatever, but you have people here that definitely would know how to do stuff and take care of everybody and chip in and do everything. So I don't know, it's just a random thought that I had last night.
You're not the first person that's made that assertion though. That like I've heard it said two ways, that like this would have to be like the worst place for a mass shooter to ever try to attack. Yeah. It would have to be one of the worst places, because by the nature of what goes on out here, there's a higher proportion than usual of people who probably have concealed carry permits and train regularly. But I've also heard it said like this has got to be one of the safest places in the world right now this weekend. Like I let my 11-year-old daughter, at the time she was 10, but my daughter and Sarah Hathaway's youngest, they were running around. They were fishing here in the lake. They were running around all over camp together, being friends. Better not have been kissing each other. I mean, I love Sarah to death, and her son is definitely on my list. I like the kid, but I did tell Sarah, I'm like, you got to understand, she's my daughter. I feel a certain way.
She's gonna be dating before you know it.
Yeah, I know, and she could do worse. But, I was like, I have no worries about letting my kid run around here. I have no worries about my wife running around by herself. Like, this is an entire miniature community right now of people who, by far and large, all look out for each other, because that's the reason we're out here. The reason most of us got into prepping in the first place, some people got into for purely selfish reasons. I want to take care of numero uno, and that's legitimate. But I feel like a lot of people that got into prepping because they thought to themselves, like, I have a mom and a dad, I have brothers and sisters, I have aunts and uncles and cousins and wife and spouse and kids and this, that, and the other. There are people who I cannot stand by and allow bad things to happen to. So I have to do something to help them if bad things happen. And I feel like that's what drove a lot of us to that. And because of that, you do find a really welcoming, family-oriented atmosphere out here.
Yeah.
Minus the drinking and the tomfoolery that happens around the campfire. But even that's like PG-13.
Yeah, no, I think it's all good stuff. And I don't know, like I said, I mean, we've pushed every year. We've pushed Prepper Camp, and yeah, if you can make it out here, and if you can't, then hopefully plan for it next year. And come here and learn. Come here with an open mind, learn, and connect with people, and it's like-minded individuals. And if you like meeting people that are like you and just want to be self-sufficient, and it doesn't matter what you like talking about, but man, come on out.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's the one other thing that definitely comes out of Prepper Camp every year, and we talk about it every year, so I'll reiterate it, but it's the community aspect of this. Like, I met a listener right here yesterday who lives in the next parish over from me, and for those of you not from Louisiana, a parish is a county. We just call it weird things because we're weird people from a weird state. But he lives in the next parish over from me. He actually does work in my area fairly often, and whole family are into prepping, whole family are into self-reliance, lives in a very small town where, the police response time is minimum 20 minutes. So if you get into trouble, you better be able to sort it out yourself. And he's been a listener of ours for years. He walked up to me and just said, "Hey, Phil," and I'm like, "I don't know who you are." But, of course, when you do this kind of thing, your likeness gets out there and people recognize you. But I made that connection with that
Jeez, Mr. Celebrity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's happened to you, too. But I guess what I'm saying is, like, to make that connection to somebody that's in my area who's into the same things I am and has the same ways of thinking I do, like, that to me is one of the things that cannot be said enough about coming to Prepper Camp. Like, you're coming to an area where almost everyone here is on the same wavelength. And if you use this as an opportunity to find your tribe, find those people that are from Michigan, find those people that are from Louisiana, find those people that are from your area, and use this not only as an educational event, but as a networking event, so that you make new friends that might be able to help you out with weird situations in weird times.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah, well, I mean, it certainly beats going to Walmart and trying to make friends with the crazy prepper people, because you meet other crazy people at your local Walmart.
I don't know if you can meeting crazy prepper people at Walmart. That should be a TV show.
That I don't even know how to approach that. I don't know if that would be Discovery Channel or Comedy Channel.
Right, but no, like I said, I mean, if you guys, if you're out and you hear this, stop on by our booth. We'll be here all day hanging out. But if you make it here, tomorrow's going to be the last day. But yeah, hopefully if you can make it out, really look forward to seeing you. But or next year, because it feels like, kind of feel like doing it again next year, even though it's I missed last year, but I don't know, it's almost become tradition. So
yeah, we'll have to approach that in a couple of months. Try to make some plans. But I mean, I can't recommend Prepper Camp enough to people that if you have the ability to make the drive, it is worth doing. It's, it was 10 hours for me to get here. I think it was closer to 12 for you.
Yeah.
It's a haul for some of us, and some people come from much further away than we do. But take the time off work, grab your family, book an Airbnb somewhere close by, call this an extended vacation, pop in here for a day or two, go see the sights and be tourists, so elsewhere in Saluda. But I mean, this is worth coming to, even if you are just curious about prepping, because I will say I've had this experience multiple times where a married couple came out here, starting with Kenny and his wife. But I've had this experience multiple times where a married couple came out here because one or the other was interested in prepping, and by the time this event was over, both of them were going home, like ready to get it in gear.
Yeah, definitely. So
yeah, call this the gateway drug to interesting hobbies and meeting weird people. But definitely, if you're out here at Prepper Camp, please come by and talk to us. Say hi. Say, hey, I heard your podcast the other day or whatever. And we would love to meet y'all. We want to know we want to increase the audience. We want to meet our audience. And this is a heck of a target-rich environment to meet people that might want to listen to two knuckleheads talk about prepping. But Matter of Fact's podcast heading out. We're going to shut this down and reload the cups with, I think you got coffee and Bailey's, and I think I'm about primed for a Coke and Knob Creek. And we will hang out here for the weekend and see who we can see. Talk to y'all later, guys. Bye.
See ya.